Welcome back to the Organizational Excellence Podcast. Here we are again. It's Kevin Johnson with Leverage Consulting. As I said in a previous podcast, I had another good one coming, and here it is. Today we're going to talk about conflict. So one of the phrases or sayings that I typically refer to or talk about with clients on a regular basis is this: the culture of any organization is shaped by the worst behavior the leader is willing to tolerate. I'll say that again. The culture of an organization is shaped by the worst behavior the leader is willing to tolerate. What I typically find in conversations, and I do have, I would say, at least 1 to 2 conversations per week that rotates around this phrase in some way, shape, or form, because most of the things, the issues that we tend to deal with on a day in, day out basis has to do with people, not inanimate objects, not the world at large. It's typically something to do with people, those people being our team members or our patients, customers, clients, someone. That brings us back to conflict. And I believe that the reason we tend to tolerate certain behaviors more than others is because of conflict or the fear of conflict. Those who know me, because I say it every now and then, I was not an English major. I was not a literature major, even though I do appreciate certain aspects of some of this. So I'm literally reading straight out of the Merriam-Webster dictionary here. Conflict. The noun version of conflict. And that would be a struggle resulting from incompatible or opposing needs, drives, wishes, or demands. The verb version of this is to be different, opposed, or contradictory. To fail to be in agreement or accord. Does any of that sound familiar? We all deal with conflict day in and day out. Most times dealing with that conflict, most times resolving that conflict is where the superstars tend to rise above the rest. So when we're dealing with the day in, day out, it's the small things that we catch, the small things that we see that tend to allow us that opportunity to start defining the culture of our practice moving forward. It's those small things. So, for example, if someone comes in dressed in a way that's starting to push the outer edges of what we would accept where we work, or someone comes to work a little bit late, or someone decides to throw a little bit of a temper tantrum. Someone decides to make a smart, quick comment to one of our patients or our customers. We can go on. The defining moment is us dealing with it in the moment as opposed to letting this thing lag. Our practice culture is defined by these small events like this because the small event turns into something else and turns into something else, and then we have a mountain to deal with. When we deal with it, when it's small, we can catch it. When we don't have 10 things that we need to unload on someone, we don't have 10 things that we need to provide all these examples, and basically it's like going after somebody with a fire hose and letting them have it. That doesn't work. It doesn't work for us because at that point we've bottled it up to a point to where we're agitated, we uncork, and it's probably unpleasant for both parties. For them, it just sounds like we're just dumping on them. If we deal with conflict in the moment, just a little bit of conflict here and there is a whole lot less painful for all of us. The other thing that we need to keep in mind is that everyone else is watching. When we allow one thing to happen, everyone else is watching. They're watching whether you allow that person to come in late. They're watching whether you allow that person to slide on their responsibility. They're watching whether you allow that person to stand around and talk all day as opposed to working. So that little bit of conflict is all that's needed. And when you think about conflict, we may think that we need to set aside an hour, go to a boardroom or a separate room where you work, find somewhere, have this great big official meeting, and it doesn't need to be that. It literally at times can be a 30-second conversation. There's times, for those of you who have children, it might be the dad look, if you know what I mean. It might just be the look out of the corner of the eye. No words are said. Everything is read as visual cues, and we're done. We got it. My word of advice for all of you is get comfortable with conflict. Get to a point where you are willing to step up on a regular basis Take action on the small things because, again, that's going to be the thing that defines your practice or your business. It's going to be the thing that also defines the customer service that your customers, your clients, your patients see. They're going to see every small little thing that you address with your team. All those small little things define the experience that your customers, your patients, your clients get to see on a daily basis. So that today, my friends, is your Organizational Excellence Podcast. I'll talk to you again soon.